So we're recording, and if it's good enough, we'll upload it to YouTube onto our channel, which will pop in the comments. So first of all, I would just like to introduce the Psychology at Work team. And there's quite a few of you. Some of us are on this call, some are not. So in alphabetical order, Amanda, if you can say a couple of words about yourself and what brings you here.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I'm seeing Haley there. Hi Haley, how are you? So my name is Amanda. I'm from Brazil. I'm in the second year of my master's studies in work organization and personal psychology. And I started at the blog with this amazing team as a volunteer. And I basically write about topics in the field of occupational psychology. And I also do interviews with professionals of the area, reflecting and chatting about different important topics that we need to reflect nowadays. So that's it. I'm so happy to be here. What brings me here? It's all about what Nikita said. It's about the networking, the change that we have when we meet different people, and how this is important for our lives. So I hope you enjoy a lot our event, and welcome everyone.
Excellent. And we already have 3 fantastic interviews of Amanda on our YouTube channel, of Haley included. And yeah, are you happy for people to reach out and connect with you, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm so happy for that. It's nice. It's amazing because it's like I said, we grow when we change experience, and when we get to know people and we talk about different things, we reflect in different things. So it has been an amazing time with our team, and I've learned a lot since I started with you guys. And I hope you all enjoy the program because it's so passionate and well done for everyone to get the best of it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll live up to those expectations together. Thank you for that, Amanda. Eloise, would you care to say a couple of words?
Hi, I'm Eloise. I've just started studying for my master's in occupational psychology. So sort of when I decided that was the path I wanted to go down in the final year of my degree, I started coming to these events and just really sort of networked from there, and found it so amazing to sort of be able to connect with people with similar interests and that are on similar paths but different stages of their journey. So yeah, it's an amazing opportunity to meet people and get to talk to people.
Excellent. And you're happy for people to reach out to you and connect?
Yeah, absolutely. I've already put my thing in the chat, so yeah, feel free.
Perfect. Thank you. And Karina?
Hi, everyone. I'm Karina. I'm from Romania. I'm studying my master's in occupational psychology at UE currently. When I joined the team, at the time I was actually looking into a career in counseling psychology, which is a bit different. But the team kind of introduced me to the occupational community, and I just fell in love with how cohesive everything was. And that was mainly the reason why I wanted to be on the team and witness everything from this side of the fence. And I've been supporting the team with graphic material, basically, just illustrations, posters to support their very informative posts and events.
Excellent. Thank you, Karina. And also animations
Yeah.
as well. So if you're seeing anything that's pretty that comes out of Psychology at Work.blog as far as illustrations and graphics, it's Karina. So thank you so much. And are you happy for people to reach out and connect?
Yeah, of course, always.
Fabulous. Hardeep, over to you.
Hi there. So welcome everybody. Lovely to connect with you this evening. So I, along with Nikita, Simon and David, are probably, I would say, one of the founding members of this initiative. So we came together to have a dedicated program for new up-and-coming occupational psychologists. We all came to the table with the same reason, that actually we didn't have this when we were starting out, and it would just be so valuable to connect Occ Psychs together, because actually starting out in our field is continues to be quite challenging. It's a bit different to professions like the legal sector or the medical sector. It just doesn't have that kind of rigor when you first start out, and that kind of connection piece. So that's where we came from. There was a bit of a gap and we all came together, and I think lockdown probably gave us a bit of sanity on a Wednesday afternoon when we could escape from home learning. So yeah, so a year on, really continue to be very pleased working for this group. It's so great to have, you know, our new people, Karina, Eloise, Amanda join us as well. That's been excellent. My background is very much around occupational psychology. I have been doing that for the last 17 years. Absolutely love it. I work internally within organizations. I've worked with quite a few different types of organizations. I work internally as a head of talent and development, and I absolutely love being part of the occupational psychology community. So for me, this feeds that need to be part of that community, because I don't think you necessarily get it in larger organizations where there's so few, if any, of us really. But hey, very excited about our profession. So yeah, looking forward to getting to work with all of you.
Thank you, Hardy, and happy for people to connect and reach out.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Please do.
Thank you so much. Simon, over to you.
Thanks, Nikita. So my name's Simon Toms. I've got a background in occupational psychology. I've done my MSc and PhD at University of Gloucestershire. I currently work for a company called PCL, who specialise in personality psychometrics. I also volunteer for, or have volunteered for, the Division of Occupational Psychology, and more recently the European Association of Work and Organisational Psychologists in an executive committee capacity for their conferences. The upcoming one we're very excited about is the one that's happening in Glasgow in January, at the COP actually, where the climate conference is happening at the moment. So if Greta and the others vacate the area by January, then we'll be very happy about that. And I think, just to echo some of the thoughts of Hardeep, actually, there wasn't a lot of support for myself when I kind of moved into the profession as a graduate, and I'd like to remedy that and prevent other people from experiencing that kind of lack of support. So we're basically just here to facilitate a very welcoming group of professionals by kind of linking them up with mentees to basically pass on their experience and help them into profession, and that's what we're here for. And just to finish up, my profile is in the chat in terms of LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me, and I promise I'll accept.
Absolutely. And Simon, I believe anybody here is currently doing their MSc Masters. PCL currently has a support scheme thing. Can you just say a couple of words? Yeah, sure. So the deadline's tomorrow, but we can always extend it if you're a bit late. We're hoping for a 500-word statement of interest. Basically, if you're a current MSc student and you're doing your dissertation this year, and you want to incorporate personality as part of your research as one of the variables, feel free to reach out to me and my company, and we'll look into being able to provide you with free access to one of our psychometrics to support your research. And also, PCL is one of the graduate employers, so every year you have a graduate position coming up. Yeah, every 6 months, yeah, we have a graduate development scheme, and part of that is to kind of help me out with research as well. So that's something to look out for in a few months' time if you've recently graduated. And if you're not graduated and a current student, you've got the SSP, the Student Sponsorship Programme. So either way, we can help you. Absolutely. And there's opportunities like this, and we have a list on our website created by Karina of some of the entry-level employers who are hiring for graduates in Occ Psych. So it's worth keeping an eye on them, even if you're a student right now. And there's some, yeah, just keep your eye out on this. There's one missing, it's called Pern Condola. They also do, as far as I understand, research sponsorship and all of this. So connect, reach out, it's a friendly bunch. And so my name is Nikita, and just also had a crap experience of looking for work and starting in the field. So bad I developed like severe physical nervous tics when I was looking for work and getting all the rejections. So that was great. And we thought that it'd be great to have something, especially during the first lockdown last year. And we expected 20 mentors max. We got over 100. So, and this year, again, we have over 100 mentors. And we never expected the amount of goodwill. And to be honest, when doing the pairings this year and last year, I'm overwhelmed by amount of goodwill in our profession to support each other. Because it's phenomenal, really, that so many people want to help and support and make things better. And therefore, from my perspective, we're just facilitators of that goodwill. So it's thanks to you and everybody on this call and beyond that the thing exists. Because if it wasn't for you, it'd be just us on Wednesday evening having coffees and talking about life. So just first of all, as this 9 months continues, I just want to say really big thank you to the team and to everybody on this call and everybody listening to this, that you were part of this. And we'll see what we can create together. So on that note, I have a question for you. Because where the hell would we develop it? I need new tea. So breakout rooms, we're going to get you together and then you just discuss of what can the EOP do to help you. So the program, if it's anything you'd want to develop, maybe reverse mentoring or help to develop, just kind of setting initial intentions, and then we'll come back, do a Menti, and then we'll present the program. Sounds like a plan? 7 nods and 1 thumbs up. Perfect. Let me get back to breakout rooms. Breakout rooms, open all rooms. See you in a bit. All right, need to pause recording. Stop sharing. Yeah. So if you can type into Menti, so what specifically you would like support with as part of the program? We have 9 months to do this. So
You're so embarrassing.
If people know you're working at home, people are going to say that. Even in the back.
cool. So good, people. If you can type it into Menti, that'd be awesome. Because this will help us to really form the strategy for the next 9 months. Networking and learning from each other. Absolutely. The networking opportunities we can provide, but it's up to you to learn from each other. This is something beyond our control. So connect with each other on the LinkedIn, reach out. Different routes into career in Occ Psych. Oh boy, there's so many. Oh my goodness, what's the name of the doggy?
This is Billy.
Billy. Yeah, he looks a little bit sideways, a little bit suspicious. What is this Zoom at 7 p.m. owner? Excellent. Keeping up the learning mindset. So what area to pursue? Now, that's the key thing, that this is one thing I wish graduates knew and students. You don't need to decide one area you pursue for the rest of your career. You can be interested in Occ Psych right now. You can be interested in psychometrics, later be interested in L&D, human factors. Occ Psych is a vacation. So you will develop and grow. I know people who are chartered occupational and chartered clinical psychologists. You don't need to stop at Occ Psych. I know people who became therapists who are Occ Psychs. You don't need to define your career right now. That's one of the key things I would like graduates to know. It's just the next thing. It doesn't mean you're going to focus your whole life on it. Perfect. Clear goals and development plans. Would anybody like to unmute and share with us what they wrote down?
Yeah, I will, Nikita. I said this in the breakout room as well, that I don't believe I know everything about our field, and I know that stuff's changing. So I'm keen to hear, not just from my mentee, but from some of the others who've just come through, the most recent master's programs? What's new? What's cooking that us older hands might not be aware of? So that's what I'm hungry to kind of learn some of the new things.
And especially all the fun research you have done. Like, this is one of the things that really frustrates me. So we were reading your submissions, our dear mentees. Some of your theses are freaking fascinating. And you just give us one sentence. And it's like, when I'm reading this, I want to know more. Like, not only your supervisor can have the luxury of reading your work, share it with the world if you can. And it deserves to be shared. But we'll get onto that for our next event. But thank you, Haley, for that, because that's one of the key things. You are already members of the profession, my dear students and fresh graduates. We want to learn from you. We want to learn what you're interested in. It's not a one-way street. It's what we can learn from each other. Thank you for that, Haley. Anybody else likes to chime in?
In my group, we talked about whether there was any possibility of a sort of pool of shared resources, whether that's individuals' different career paths that led them to where they are now, or even studies of things that they've worked on in their careers, and have some sort of repository of information, potentially, I don't know.
A central source of goodness where, like videos could be presented with links.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds a little bit like YouTube. So but yes, so Paul just, we started doing the recordings, but if you have any suggestions of what more stuff we could create, more than welcome. Like on our YouTube last year, we recorded an interview with Peter Saville about his life and his career, and is there. And we want to record with more people and about their careers and their development journeys. And so if you have any ideas of what would be useful, just pop it down in the chat or send me a message. And the idea is to create absolutely a central source. So hopefully over the years, the videos will build up into hopefully what will be a structured rather than chaotic as it is now, source of different videos and resources. But by all means, if there's something you feel we should create, let us know. And especially if you want to help to create it, we would even more likely to hear from you. So thank you so much. And thank you so much, everybody, for dropping this in, and we'll study this in detail. So
I have a question, Nikita.
Go for it.
So because how we learn these days at uni, there are few certain pathways. So it's like 6 core subjects that you study. What about if we have this kind of rooms or groups, I don't know, on your blog or on LinkedIn, and then the mentors who actually specialize in that field, maybe we could kind of put those things in category, and then, for example, myself, I'm interested in 3 categories, and then we could pop in and see what is discussion about around that topic. Would that be maybe somebody would be interested in that?
So without hogging all the airspace, team, what do you think?
All resources are always a gold mine of information. Totally for it.
Absolutely. And central, so we have currently a LinkedIn page, which you can follow, Psychology At Work.Blog. So we post a bit of stuff there. Also, Eloise is currently our Instagram specialist. So we're going to have Instagram as well. So we do have Instagram as well. And so the idea here will be that over time, we will build the resources across several platforms. So Instagram, YouTube, etc. So with time, there should be more and more that will be put in out there. But if anybody feels they want to share their professional journey or any particular resources that they have, by all means, we absolutely love to hear from you. But this is a journey, and this is our 2nd year. So the idea is how we can build year on year on year to create more and more goodness. And talking about creating more and more goodness, I'm gonna hand over to my wonderful colleague, Hardeep. Hardeep, are you there?
Yeah, absolutely, I'm here.
Just to resume share, just to walk us through the next 9 months program?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. So it is a dedicated 9-month program. And what we've tried to do is it's not just the mentoring part of it, which is obviously what you're going to kind of get confirmation on over the next couple of days, over the next week or so. It's not just the mentoring piece. So you can see here, it will start off with the mentoring introductions and the confirmation of who you're going to be paired with. Hopefully you're going to be happy with who you're paired with. If not, we can always look into that further. And so we'll start off with the focus on mentoring. You'll have your pairing. And then by mid-December, I would absolutely say try and meet with your mentor at least once for sure, just to kind of check in, introduce yourself, assess that kind of chemistry. Can I work with this person over the next 9 months? And start to think about development areas that you want to focus on. We would always encourage you to think about more kind of broader topics, something that you can work with them on for the next kind of 6 to 9 months. So as an example, something a little bit more meaty around how do I prepare for interviews? Or actually, how do I create that kind of gravitas, have an impact, whatever it might well be, but something that's a bit of a long-term development area versus can you look at my cover letter and how do I write my cover letter for this particular job? So I would encourage you to already start thinking, and you probably have already start thinking about, okay, I'm going to get confirmation on my mentor in the next week or so. What are the kind of the chunkier pieces of development that person can help me with? So if you haven't thought of that already, please do have a think. If you need a bit of help to explore and to bounce ideas around before you connect with your mentor, the 4 of us, myself, Nikita, David, and Simon would be more than happy to have a chat with you. Yep. And then what we've done here, we've split it into 3 component parts. So over the next 9 months, there will be a dedicated focus for each of those parts. So as I say, it's not just a community for mentoring. There are lots of resources available. We are going to have targeted development workshops each month for both mentors and for mentees. Last year, we had a way more than we expected number of people join those sessions. And then an amazing amount of people that were watching the recorded sessions when they didn't get to attend. Those workshops are so varied in terms of topic areas. So we will share further information with you soon, but those workshops could very much be around how do I nail that interview versus, what is the latest thinking and around a particular topic in terms of occupational psychology. So those workshops are quite varied. We are continuously trying to make sure that the workshops are targeted in line with your needs. So please feel free to drop us an email, pick up the phone to us, let us know if there's something in particular that you'd like to focus on, because we are building them as we go. There is a whole host of resources that we will continually share with you. We've got an Instagram page now, which I'm sure Eloise can send you the link for, or I don't know if it's called a link, sorry, I'm not that trendy, but whatever it's called, the Instagram page that we're on, she can share the link with you, and please do log on to there. Again, we've got a dedicated section where we have post our recordings, our YouTube clips. We've got a number of podcasts, articles. There's a whole set of resources there available. We will also create networking opportunities. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we didn't actually meet in person last year. But for moving forward, we would like to create some networking opportunities, some of them quite informal, where on a Wednesday, Friday evening, whichever day works for the majority, we will, we can meet somewhere in London and we can get to know each other on a more of a personal level. And we would encourage you that if this is a global program, so in locations where there are a few of you, please do reach out, create your own networking opportunity. That is the beauty of this program. One of the biggest beauties of this program is the opportunity to connect in a way that you wouldn't get at more formal events. And also, just to finish off, we will have dedicated LinkedIn groups for both mentors and mentees. Any questions, any resources you want to share, please feel free to post them on there. We did ponder about having another avenue such as a WhatsApp group, but actually we think we've got more than enough platforms already on the go. So please make sure after today's call, that you can access all of the different platforms, and we look forward to connecting with you on there and sharing further details on all of these. And then to close off the program at the end of August, we've got quite a, as you'd expect from Occ Psychs like us, we've got quite a thorough evaluation process, which includes a survey, interviews, etc., with a cross-section of mentors and mentees, and that is absolutely focused on that continuous improvement piece there. So as you can see, a fully packed 9 months ahead of you, but hopefully a really valuable 9 months. Nikita, anything to add?
Well, thank you so much for such a thorough introduction. Yeah, it's create your own networks, connect, and you never know how it might play out over time as far as the career opportunities, and just chat, because it can be a bit lonely, especially if you go from uni to looking for a job. Yeah. This time can be really strenuous.
And Nikita, if I can just add one last point, and it's not about the timeline as such, but one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we had from our program, and last year was a pilot, but the program that we ran last year, it was just it was more so from the mentors and how they really appreciated this as a reverse mentoring opportunity. And I can absolutely see that. So a lot of you are coming out of university and it's your first career. There's quite a large proportion for where it's a second, third career, but the majority are still new graduates. And actually a lot of people that were quite established in the field, 15, 20, 30 years plus experience, they really valued that reverse mentoring opportunity, because just as much as the mentee is getting from the mentor, you guys were able to give so much back to our mentors as well. And some of them hadn't mentored in the last kind of 10 to 15 years of being in their career. So please think of this as a two-way opportunity for both mentors to get something and mentees to get something out of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Any questions about the program or anything that stands out for you, or you go, that's particularly useful, or why is this there? Just it'd be great to hear your thoughts. Maya, over to you.
First of all, hi everyone, and thank you, Nikita, and all the organizers who helped to do this program. It's really, I think it will be very helpful, especially in my case. I think everyone here has different situation or different case. For me, I will say briefly that my first degree in psychology was in Arabic. So I came from Lebanon. When I came here to start finding a job, I feel that I have zero knowledge about psychology, especially when I started studying the master's degree in University of Hertfordshire. So it was really very difficult 2 years. I did it part-time for me, but thanks God that I finished and with distinction. Through these 2 years, I'm still applying always for different kind of positions, and always I'm not getting a good opportunity. So with your advice and with your help, I think I will be able to find my path, my right path. That's it. I just would like to thank you and give you a brief about my story. And I'm very interested because I have 2 of my classmates also here with us in this program, Kamand and Arya. It was great to see you today. Thank you.
It's wonderful that you get to see your course mates, and it can be a struggle. That's the key thing, especially looking for a job. And we're currently creating a little pamphlet with like top tips of what to search for, what key terms, what are the employers, etc. And we have started working on this.
I can give you an example. Sorry for the interruption. I applied few weeks about position. It's called psychological well-being practitioner. So I apply and I put my cover letter, and then they get back to me. They told me, sorry, we cannot take you because you don't have experience in psychological well-being. So that's true, I don't have experience, but how I will get this experience if I didn't start and work in this atmosphere? So this is my weaknesses. I would like to have an idea, how can I get this opportunity to have this experience, to start to see my options and work.
Who else here has a catch-22? You need experience to get a job, but you need a job to get experience. Anybody else resonates with this? We have two show of hands, etc. Yeah, you are not alone.
Just one more thing before I switch. I already have experience. I don't know if you hear. I just would like to mention that I have more than 5 years experience as a counselor in Middle East. I used to work with American University of Middle East with the students. So when I came here, I feel that I don't have experience. So this is what I'm struggling now.
I hear you. Does anybody have any ideas or any suggestions? Any thoughts?
I'd be happy
Our
to pick some with
public
you.
health team are hiring mental health workers at the moment. They aren't necessarily looking for psychological experience. I've sent you a connection request, Maya. There's a couple of roles that might be really suitable for you. I think the closing date is probably the next week or so, but I work really closely with the public health team, so I can always forward on your CV through and recommend you as well. But we can chat offline if you like.
Thank you so much, Liz. I will keep in touch, of course.
So, Maya, I was going to say I'd be happy to speak with you. I used to work for a company that was a provider of the PWP programs and things, so I can have a chat with you offline as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Paul.
Yeah, and that's the key thing why we want to create the spaces, is that you can bring your issue, and then we can see how we can leverage that collective intelligence and capability to actually help to address it. And the key thing is always do ask. This is why we have these spaces. So even if you're having like, a crap day, or you really get tired of rejecting letters, do bring this in here. This is one of the key reasons why we have created this. But I do have just one story, and then we'll move on back to the program. Is after finishing my MSc, I got an interview and last stage selection process at an airline. And I just did my MSc on the trust between pilots and co-pilots. And it was an assessment job, an entry-level assessment job in an airline. And I thought this was my perfect job. I could not think better, it's in line with my thesis. I love psychometrics even then. And I was going to get it. And I didn't get it because I had an assessment center followed by an interview without even a lunch break. So it was 3 hours of psychometrics, no lunch break, etc. Made me appreciate recruitment process a bit better. And then when they asked me, can you explain reliability and validity in layman's terms? I couldn't think of a better example than correlation between wearing high heels and schizophrenia. Probably not the best example to use. Anyways, I didn't get the job and I cried into my pillow for like 2 days straight. And then, first of all, they gave me best feedback I ever got on my performance, and it helped me to get the next job. And two, about 2 years later, when I was in my role, I met somebody on the table at the EOP conference, and I quickly realized I got that job at the airline. And I turned to them and they go, you must have the best job in the world, fly around the world, profile pilots. You must really enjoy it. And they progressively, their eyes getting larger, like I'm a madman. I often get that. And they go, what the hell makes you think this is my job? And I go, what do you do? I like profile middle management. I have no access to pilots. I cannot choose the psychometrics I use. What makes you think this is my job description? And I realized that the job I was crying in the pillow for never existed. I imagined what this job was going to be. And I was in a much better job in that 2 years than I could ever get if I got that job. So sometimes when you're rejected and you really feel the pain, and the pain is real, sometimes you're crying about a job that might never been there to begin with. And only in retrospect, you would realize you dodged the bullet. So it's just kind of keep things into perspective. And yeah, so good people. Back to the slides. Hardy, I was just wondering, would you mind sharing that if I share the slide of coaching versus mentoring, just to kind of position it a little bit? Would you be okay to walk us through it?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, that's right.
Fantastic. I think for some people, and probably for many of us, you're probably very, very familiar with this distinction. But I thought what would be really helpful is just to kind of reposition mentoring, coaching, and sponsorship, because I think sometimes the three of those activities can be quite confusing. So just wanted you to be clear at the outset, because we did have a few people last year thought that this was going to be coaching, and it was going to be a way for someone to sponsor you into your next job. So we don't offer that yet, but you never know. You never know. So just to be really clear, what we're trying to do here is to encourage mentoring. And you will see when you get your pairing, it is absolutely about pairing you up with somebody who's more experienced than the mentee in terms of their skills, their knowledge and experience in the Occ Psych field. And the purpose here is to really help with the individual's development. So it isn't just about somebody downloading everything they've ever done, all their war stories and their success stories. It is about you being really focused on, these are the areas of development that I want to work on, and understanding how your mentor has done this previously. Yeah. And actually for them to encourage you and work with you to develop those skills. So as I say, it is very much around you tapping into their knowledge and their experiences, but for them to then work with you on how they can do that more effectively. And I think just to be clear, if it does step into some coaching, then that might happen, but coaching is very different to mentoring. A lot of people get that quite confused. But here, coaching is very much around not sharing your experiences and not sharing all the skills that you've had in the past. And this is actually very targeted towards it generally tends to be towards people's development, and it isn't about sharing that. So sometimes your mentor may use coaching type questions to support your development, but they are not coaching you as such. So when I say coaching type questions, they may say to you, so what do you think are the options here? How would you look at this differently? What else, what other considerations are there? So those types of questions are very open-ended coaching type questions, but you wouldn't expect that doesn't fall into them coaching you. And I think also, just to be really transparent, you will make connections with people through the mentoring, through the development workshops, through the four of us as a group of individuals. And that's absolutely fine. But I think the piece here is that this is not a sponsorship program. This is not an opportunity for for us to find your job for you, or we may make suggestions. We may even recommend you if we worked with you and we know you really well. But this is not a sponsorship program like you may have in some organizations where you identify a particular individual that will help you get promoted and help you get your next job. So I think that is more so just for us to position that this isn't that kind of platform either. But we will make connections along the way, and you never know where these connections can take you. Yeah,
exactly. And we do try to help you to get the job, but for example, we have a hashtag Psych Talent on LinkedIn. So do follow it by date so you can see the latest jobs, and we will present you with workshops on how to get jobs. We will have CV writing workshops, we'll have cover letter writing workshops and all of that, but we can't sponsor you into the job. And neither, putting that pressure on the mentor is also not necessarily great. But for example, one of the things that I always tell to graduates, it's perfectly all right to write to somebody about job opportunities, but instead of saying like, are you hiring? You can say, have you heard of any entry-level roles? That's far better because you're not putting the impetus on that person and the company, but if they have heard of anything, that could be beneficial. So we'll make steps to do this. And as far as mentoring and coaching, it's your responsibility to make that contract with your mentor and mentee and find out what works for you. And just honestly have this conversation, like, how can you get more out of the process? Maybe there'll be homework involved, and prep. Maybe not, we don't know. It's up to you to build that relationship together. Any questions about this slide? As a high extrovert, I count to 10 inside my head whenever I say any questions, because my natural default setting is to say any questions, good, moving on. But then nobody asks me questions. So if there's this pauses, just me counting. Great. So just a little bit about the roles, and then we'll wrap up. Is that okay, Hardeep?
Absolutely. So again, just to be really clear about what the mentor is here to do, and I think I just kind of mentioned it, they are here to help support your development and specific skills that you want to work on. They are here to stretch you in terms of your career development and progression goals. They're not here to just kind of download anything and everything around being an occupational psychologist. They are individuals that, and we are so lucky to have the range of mentors that we had. And I really hope when you get your pairing, you will be just as impressed as we are, that people that are very established in our field are happy to give up their time on a monthly basis to help people new to the profession. So I think on that basis, the mentors that we have, you will find that they are people that you can trust. They are going to be honest, they're going to be constructive, they will share their experiences, but they will also encourage you to think outside the box. Yeah. And I think the piece here that a lot of individuals came back to us on last year is just the sheer richness of commerciality, understandings of different structures and processes and politics. And honestly, I really, really wish I'd had that like 17 years ago when I first started out, because I did my degree and then I did my master's, and I just thought I would be the world's best occupational psychologist, but I didn't have a single bit of work experience to support me. Apart from my Saturday job when I was at uni working in Next, that's not quite the same thing. So I did everything, my education really continuously. And I just think that commerciality and that, link to the outside world and application was the most valuable, that would have been the most valuable thing for me starting out. So I'd really encourage you to pick up on these things with your mentor as much as possible. And again, for you, from the mentee's perspective, I think the responsibility is on you to drive that discussion, to drive, what you want to get out of the session. It's not for the mentor to pick the topics and encourage that. It's for you to bring to the table, this is what I'd like to work on to support my professional and my personal growth. This is what I would like from you. Yeah, I think the onus and the responsibility is very much on the mentee to drive that conversation. Again, if there are any goals that need to be taken, any resources, any preparation, that's part of your work to do as a mentee. So again, feel free to ask for feedback, really try to own the objectives that you're going to set. Be open to that feedback. It doesn't mean that because the mentor is so experienced, they must know everything and anything. But I think at the same time, be receptive to the feedback that they will give to you. Our mentors are, a lot of them we know personally ourselves. So I think be very open to listening to some of their feedback and challenge the views if you don't necessarily agree with them. And again, it's for you to schedule those meetings with the mentor and just be willing. I think that that's a really big thing. Be willing to take risks, follow through on the commitments. If you need to contact them, if you're meeting monthly, 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes on a monthly basis, and you have a question that comes up, that's for you to, you to follow up on. That's not something, we had a couple of people, I didn't hear back from the mentor, could you contact them for me? Yeah, we can help you in that sense, but the relationship is for you to manage yourself. If you're not getting as much as you want out of the mentoring relationship, again, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to facilitate that discussion. But hopefully that's just a brief overview on the roles between the mentor and the mentee. Any questions, sorry?
Or thoughts, reflections, anything. Yeah. Thank you for the thumbs up. We'll take it as feedback. Anything else? So thank you for that, Hardy. So this has been kind of like a whirlwind program, and there's going to be more about kind of how to get more from mentoring and mentees, and all of this will be developed. I'm just curious, like listening for all of this, is there any ideas for events of what we can do? So if you can go back to Menti and just type in, like you think, oh my God, the event on this would be really useful. It could be, I don't know, health psychology, or looking for your first job, or Catch 22, how to get experience without having a job, to get a job that requires experience. So anything particularly you would find useful. So you can just type it in. Because that makes our job a hell of a lot easier, because we don't need to brainstorm and say, well, what we're going to do next month. So it's going to be based around this. Drinks. It's all right. We can organize that. Mental health entry-level jobs. Absolutely. And right now with mental health at work being hybrid, there's such opportunity for clinical and occupational to learn from each other and where it positions us. Getting remote jobs. Yeah, right now that's a real opportunity. Wasn't there 2 years ago. Now quite a few jobs say remote. And how to get them. New learning opportunities, market trends. More info on the BPS Stage 2 qualification. Well, today, sadly, we don't have our wonderful colleague, David Biggs, with us, because he's like the chartership guy. But we do have a video he created on Psychology At Work.Blog. And we'll have a separate event on chartership, because that's important. And we're all in support of that. But we have a whole, whatever, hour and a half or an hour thing, where David takes you through different routes to chartership. Let me just open chat. While I'm doing this, would anybody like to unmute themselves and just share with us what they wrote down?
Is HelloFresh worth the price?
Damn it.
Absolutely.
I don't care about HelloFresh.
In the beginning, I was doubtful too.
Damn.
I realized I was actually
come on.
saving money.
Stop. Right, done. Jeez, those advertising, man. While you're trying to find the chat window. So would anybody like to share what they wrote down? Take two.
I'd be happy to share mine. I don't think it's actually come up on screen yet, but so I wrote down that it'd be really useful to kind of look at how to make that career transition, and almost coming at it from a mature student point of view would be really useful for me.
Absolutely. So more about the second career. And could you just let us know what industry you're transitioning from?
I'm actually transitioning from learning and development. And I want to go into well-being, so that's what I want to do. So.
Hardy, any advice on transitioning from learning to well-being to Occ Psych?
Oh wow, that's an interesting one. I'm happy to pick up with you individually, but my gosh, the well-being agenda is huge right now, and I think my only bit of advice there would be making sure it's rooted very commercially, because I think well-being it shouldn't be seen as being light and fluffy or in any shape or form. There's a real commercial imperative to being a well-being specialist, I would absolutely say. So yeah, work on the commercial piece for sure.
Absolutely. And by the way, we will have separate events on occupational psychology as a second career, but I'm just popping in the chat. Hopefully no more HelloFresh adverts when I load it. We did 2 webinars last year, and we had 3 speakers for each one, all about transitioning to Occ Psych as a second career. So in the meantime, while we're organizing the events for this year, it might be really worth checking out and just kind of seeing what's there. So just popped it in the chat. Right. Thank you for that. So psychology as second career, drinks, we got that sorted. Chartership, I also popped that video in, and we'll have a separate symposium on this as well. Probably get somebody from the PPS. How to set up my own business? Absolutely, we'll have a special support network for the unemployable, I mean the independent. And for recommended courses, sharing the facilitators meant fulfilling your full potential, mastering LinkedIn, yeah, we'll definitely have that. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, everybody, for writing this down, because we'll use this to structure the syllabus, so to say. And by the way, this is the next events. So the way it's going to run is that we will have every first week of the month, we'll have 2 events, one on a Wednesday, one on a Friday, 6 p.m. UK time, same Zoom link. So it's always going to be the same Zoom link. So just don't worry about it. You can still register for events, but rest assured, it will be the same Zoom. So next one, Wednesday, 1st of December, we will have something quite exciting. Because as I said, when we were reading your submissions, we got really excited by some of the titles of your research. So we want you to share your research with the world. So it's going to be an open symposium. So if you want to do a 5-minute presentation, up to 5 minutes, it can be shorter. You can summarize it in 3 sentences if you wish, or even 1. I found this, done. It doesn't need to have a poster or anything unless you want it to. Just a summary of your research. Because so many of you did fantastic studies, and we think it's completely unfair that only your supervisor gets to read them, and maybe your parents if they're feeling generous. So we really want to hear from you, and we're going to be sending out a Survey Monkey, and Eloise so nicely volunteered for this. So either reach out to our wonderful colleague Eloise, or there'll be a Survey Monkey going out next week, or it'd be on Instagram or our webpage, Psychology At Work.Blog on LinkedIn. And we just want to hear from you. What was your studies? And you'll have 5 minutes to present and a bit of time for questions. And it's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be an open event. So we'll invite lots of people from industry, HR, L&D, well-being, etc. So to give you a bit more exposure and also to connect, because this is another theme of this events. A lot of these events are going to be public. So there's going to be new people coming from industry, students, etc., just to keep it fresh. So we won't be kind of in our own bubble. Does that make sense? Does that sound like a good idea? Anybody wants to participate? 3 thumbs up and 5 nods. Wow. Out of the 12 cameras we have on, that's a lot. And 1 clapping hands. So Eloise, just to check, are you happy for people just to drop you a line if they're interested on LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please do.
Perfect. And then on Friday next month, it's going to be comedy night. So just kind of meet up, have a drink, share some psychology jokes. Like, there's not so many, so I'm not going to give them away now, because otherwise I'll have no material for next time. Because I only have, like, after 10 years of working in psychometrics, I have only like half an hour of material. So I just really need to be conscious of not giving it away just yet. So the idea is Wednesdays is going to be a bit more serious. Fridays is going to be just basically a social. Does that sound okay for everybody? Perfect. So now the last thing I want to hear from you, asking a loaded question. Is there anything in particular you're excited about the next 9 months? So after everything we discussed, anything particularly floats your boat? Apart from getting a job, which I'm sure you will.
Learning from others.
Learning from others. Anything in particular you want to learn?
That's a very interesting question. Yeah, there is so much to learn. I mean, people here are from various fields within occupational psychology. So I'm sure there'll be plenty that I think I know, but I actually don't. And others know more about it. So I'm all about learning.
Absolutely. And the thing is, we have somebody transitioning from L&D, we have HR, and how awesome would be if you can put this in your cover letter. Now I'm actively working with L&D and HR of the world to better understand the value Occ Psych can bring to the workplace. I mean, that's far more differentiating than I'm passionate about psychology. So even this you can include. And by the way, feel free to include in your experience as a mentee or mentor at Psychology at Work. You can add this on your LinkedIn's and your CV, because that's another thing to differentiate you from other applicants. So if people ask, oh, what this, you can say, well, I took an active step to develop myself professionally. So that in itself can already be added to your CV. And people go, oh, what's that? So feel free to do so. So thank you for that. And would anybody else like to share what they're excited about? I can wait. In no particular order, Sabina. In no particular order, following that. Liz, you just switched on your camera. Anything in particular you're excited about?
Not this related, but I'm back at you tomorrow, so I'm very excited.
You're back, you're in Edinburgh tomorrow?
Sorry, back at uni.
Oh, back at uni.
Started, yeah, year 2 of my 2-year masters. Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Oh, excellent. So hopefully lots of coffee infused, wonderful conversation.
Definitely.
Perfect. Anybody else wants to chip in?
The community, I think the sense of community here, because it's so lonely trying to find a job.
It is. It's both lonely and you get lots of rejection. So it's a double whammy.
Yeah, and I think the hard part, I don't want this to sound too depressing, but I had sort of extensive experience in HR as well. So the career transition should, in theory, have been quite easy, and it's not been.
Anything in particular was a struggle?
Catch-22, overqualified, or you know, there was a lot of, why would you want to take this position? But ultimately, coming out of HR, yeah, that's okay. That's process driven, a lot of it. You wouldn't expect someone coming into Occ Psych to take a senior position, you know, straight away. But I'm not explaining this very well. There was a lot of the, well, we think you're overqualified. We think you wouldn't want this position, you get bored.
Mm-hmm. I see. Well, one of the things you might want to think is independent consulting.
I've just recently, very, very recently in the last few weeks, got a post, but I had to really sell myself hard to try and get in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so if anybody is also transitioning, and congratulations on your post, would you be happy for them to reach out so you can just have a chat about your recent experiences?
Absolutely, definitely. And because I've had a career in HR, I'd be happy to tell them how to potentially access that as well.
I sense an event coming up with a few speakers, if you don't mind. It'd be great to have you on the panel. So, I'm very conscious how I'm going to pronounce your name. Vitu?
Victoria.
Oh.
Ritu. The W is silent.
Ritu. Okay, great. Ritu. And did you raise your hand?
Yeah, so I completely agree with what Victoria said. Couldn't agree more. So I was nodding when she was saying it. It is quite difficult. I have myself also gone through this period where you absolutely feel like, oh my God, I have all these things to offer, or at least I feel like I do. and no one wants it. So you either hear, like I have spent quite a while of time being in that between a rock and a hard place where you're either considered overqualified or you're considered not enough experience in that particular role. And you're just like, how do I get myself out of this hole?
Exactly. But for example, I can see it resonate with a few people, but as Victoria mentioned, she did get a role. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But the key thing is to bring this here, and we'll have separate symposiums on this for a second career. But it is what we can learn from each other. And though it can feel a lonely place, you're very much not alone. So any other thoughts before we wrap up for the evening or afternoon, depends where you are. Well, I think this was 15 seconds. So good people. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas. We have another welcome event on Friday, same time, same link. So if you want to drop in and meet some more new people and hear pretty much the same stuff within one standard deviation of the mean, by all means, feel free to do so. Mentoring pairings will be done by the end of the week. So if you didn't get a mentoring pairing by the end of the week, drop me a line. And otherwise, reach out to Eloise if you want to be on the symposium with presenting your findings, like just up to 5 minutes. You don't need to have a poster, just share it with the world. And otherwise, yeah, I look forward to the next 9 months with you good people.
Thanks, Nikita.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Goodbye.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Kita, bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Right. So let me just let people log out. So there's a couple of people on. How is this for you good people? What are our thoughts?
I think it went very smoothly.
I do.
A lot to talk about. I'm sorry, I'm quite tired. It's been a long day.
It's the end of the day.
I literally have like a takeaway menu next to me that I'm ordering whilst you're talking. So
not Hello Fresh, no.
no, it's for the actual chicken. Like, it's a place called Galitos. I use. It's like their peri-peri chicken. They have their own website, so I'm just ordering a chicken wrap as you're speaking. So don't let me stop you.
But
I did it upstairs too.
Bon appetit. Yeah, I'm also knackered. But yeah, great teamwork. And if we'd want to do anything different for Friday, just let me know and we'll edit it and tweak it. But I think that was great atmosphere and everybody's so willing to help each other.
Absolutely. And do you know what, Nikita, it's just I think the only thing was like just to emphasize that there is light at the end of that tunnel. And because I think, you know what, I was listening to them and I was thinking to myself, I remember how, you know, you come this close to thinking, is it worth it? You know, you do, no matter who you are, you do get to that point where you just think, oh, got to find the energy to look again, got to find the energy to